So apparently we have to start banging on about diversity. But before we get into that trash article by what's his name, Ramesh. Yeah, I can't say his surname. I don't sound like one of them bug teachers, but I'm gonna leave that. Do you know what I'm saying? But before, we're gonna talk about why it is important and what diversity means to you as black women, and then we can get back to the trash.
Okay. Well, I feel like diversity is a buzzword at the moment, diversity, but no one actually wants to talk about inclusivity. That's more important. Like you can be as diverse as you want in your workplace and tick all the boxes and be like, look, I've got a homosexual, I've got a black person, or a black person who's a homosexual. Wow, jackpot. And you know, like just you know, things like that. Like they'll do all of those things, but then whether they're involving you in the meetings or whether they're consulting you about things, it's a completely different issue altogether. So I feel that that's really what we should be talking about and we should promote more of, and certain trolls just need to keep quiet.
Absolutely, because I remember, like, even with the H&M madness when that happened with the top and the hoodie and the little kid. Are you trying to tell me if that passes a single pair of black eyes, someone's not like, So if there was diversity and inclusivity within that company, that shit would have never happened.
Yeah, because I think that I'm sure there were black people that worked there. I'm very sure that
I'm sure they weren't consulted.
But because of inclusivity, they weren't consulted. Or maybe when they said, oh, guys, I think that this might be taken the wrong way, they were probably dismissed. And a note was put in with HR that they're a bit aggressive.
Yeah. And I think another thing is there's so many diversity schemes.
Yeah.
Like,
schemes
especially
are the right word. You know, like, damn.
And like these schemes, like it's kind of for me like the BBC is one that does diversity schemes after diversity schemes. The Guardian does diversity scheme after diversity scheme. But are there enough people that get off the scheme and are able to work their way up? You know, being themselves, completely being themselves, and that's where inclusivity comes from. And I think if you look at the top and you're not having someone, as you said, round the table, having a seat at the table, and able to say their opinion in fear of not getting, you know, fired, or as you said, being labelled aggressive, then there'd be no problems. So, but I don't think that really happened.
But that's what I mean. They're not trying to give black people a seat at the table. Man ain't in the toilet handing out lollipops, blood. That's just what it is, isn't it? That's what their man are on.
Or another thing is, I think one thing I always say is, diversity is done by not having us in the office, so having us as freelancers.
Yes,
you know, or you know, consultants for the day. You know, check the box that we've consulted you, but we're not going to take your opinion. There needs to be a difference of actually having us in the room. You can't say you're diverse just because you have a pool of freelancers who hand in work.
They pull in for their black jobs. And that's if the Indians aren't available. You know the ones there.
You know, we hand in our work, and let's be real, if you're a freelancer, you have to have a cut-off point where you're like, okay, you know, this is my work, it's gone. Unless it's factually incorrect, you can pull someone up. But apart from that, you really have no place to, you know, go back and be like, can I change this? Can I edit that? Do you know what I mean? So, like, as I said, you know, have us actually in the room.
Definitely.
That's mad. Yeah, so that, there was so much wrong with that article, man, from the beginning. And it's just like, first of all, like, the movie was shit. Like, even if it was, first of all, who the fuck's asking you, bro?
That's it. Like, you're not your conversation.
Your
you're
conversation to have
not
a
your
conversation.
conversation.
The whole issue with political blackness, we need to leave it in the 60s when it was, you know, when it was viable, when it was feasible, when we needed it, when it was necessary for this cohesion in the community for us to be able to deal with the white devils. But that being said, now it's no longer necessary because within our communities we're doing what needs to be done. And I find that oftentimes people are so happy to claim political blackness when it means that they can take funding away from us. Like so many people apply for these schemes and they get all the funding, and then suddenly they remember that they're Southeast Asian, and that's it, they're done now. They don't want to be you know, pulled with us anymore. Someone did this data study, and they said, there are 100 black professors in the UK. Or something like that.
What, black like how we look black?
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go, wasn't it?
When someone actually questioned that, it was actually 22.
I just realised.
So when someone actually was like, no, but how many are actually black? Like of, you know, Afro-Caribbean descent. Oh, that's 22. So the rest are...
it's a box ticking exercise, isn't it, for these men?
Right.
It's mad. And the thing is, if you want to help us, Ramesh, when they come to you for your opinion, tell them to ask a black person to write the thing. You know them ones there. Like for you to say, yeah, your first contribution was the film was shit. So what, bruv? I can name you a million shit films directed by white people.
Yeah.
A million. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Daredevil was shit, and Ben Affleck still got Batman.
Yes.
You know them ones there. So don't tell man about like this is the make or break. Like just because this movie wasn't as good as you think it was, all of a sudden. So what? We shouldn't watch anymore. We shouldn't be given a budget because of one film. Because if that was the case, nobody would be working now.
But I think like to even say that we shouldn't make fanfare of diversity is so dangerous. Because as a black woman, I've seen the movie and I actually had to think, oh my God, Mindy Kaling, I don't see South Asian women on screen in Hollywood a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So when people were saying that, I was like, Tobi, you need to check yourself as an ally because, you know, diversity around, you know, film and Hollywood, the conversation really does revolve around, you know, black and white. It does. Yeah. But to see Mindy there, me as a black woman, I was like, oh my God, she's beautiful. Oh my God, she's got such personality. It was great to see her there. And that needs to be a subject of conversation because it makes people like me who are, you know, the other, although I hate it, it makes me check myself and say like, you know, this conversation can sometimes go down one road. It needs to go down different paths.
And it definitely does. And I feel like that means that other communities need to be more vocal for themselves. And this is my issue with artists like MIA. She's constantly attacking the black community and going, oh, why didn't you speak out when this happened to my community? Why didn't you speak out? Because, bitch, you can speak out.
You don't
your own mouth.
Yeah.
Like, people are barely staying alive. They're trying to get more noticed about, you know, police brutality. And March for Our Lives, we see how much coverage that got and how well received that was, but Black Lives Matter is seen as
them terrorist group, fam. So that's what they man know,
and that's racialized. So how can you now be like, oh, black people, why aren't you speaking about what affects me? Because it's not my duty to do so.
And a good ally actually doesn't speak over the person who has the lived experience.
Right, we amplify the voices.
So for me, like I remember I saw something because it was about, you know, Scarlett Johansson did that film.
Oh, yes.
Fam, it was like with the Asian samurai thing.
Said, are you gonna write about this? I said, no, I'm waiting for someone to write so I can tweet it and share it. Ain't my place to write about it. It's not.
That's
really
wild.
Not. And we need to all know our place. And Romesh did not know his place. And we are still unsure as to whether he pitched that article or he was asked. Or he was asked.
I believe he was asked because just because, like, why the hell would you go out of your way to write that trash? Do you know what I'm saying?
If you are married to a woman of the alabaster hue, and I'm sure she watched it, she was just like, this makes me uncomfortable because I must cape for my white woman and I must go and.
But that's why we must stop talking about diversity because it makes people feel uncomfortable. Fuck that.
And that was his premise. It makes white people uncomfortable.
I'm here all day for that though.
And when it flops, they're going to be more harsh on you. They were going to be harsh on me regardless. So don't police my excellence. That's all I saw. Like, even my flops, just don't police what I'm doing. Mind your business.
And I think also, if you're going to talk about the whole, you know, and I didn't like the fact that he compared it to Black Panther either.
Bruh.
And I think why, because the marketing budget Disney gave Black Panther
was different levels.
Was a different level compared to the marketing budget that it was giving Wrinkle in Time. Wrinkle in Time wasn't given its due. So if you're going to talk about this, you need to talk about the whole story. You have to talk about how Ava really didn't get the promotion that she needed. They really didn't get, like, the social media promotion they didn't get was there. There was a different vibe to Wrinkle in Time. It was just
lazy journalism. So what? I'm going to compare it to the only other black film that's come out recently.
Well. Then he compared it to Blade, and I was
but he was saying, Wesley Snipes will be upset because people forget that Blade was a superhero and that whatever, innit? Like, I'm not even trying to hear shit about that.
I didn't ever forget. And there's Meteor Man. I didn't
ever exactly as well. Meteor Man was banned on.
About any of these things, but I can celebrate Black Panther and, you know, and have a great time.
But as I said, I just don't understand why an Asian man felt the need to write about a black woman's creative expression. It just really isn't your place.
But that is why I'm saying they must have approached him, because if they didn't, he deserved to get suplexed, blood. Because why would you go up to these men and say, guess what, I've got something to say?
But when you're the palatable face of, you know, diversity, or the favoured person diversity, you do feel confidence to be like, you know what, I can write anything I want because I'm going to be protected by, you know, the open-minded
and then you had the cheek to tell people on Twitter that I'm sorry you misunderstood.
No, I read it correctly.
Aggressive. You're saying that now we can't read, or we are incapable of reading and comprehension. You just need to look at your comments, fam. Like, all of the people that were praising you were white men, primarily white men. And I always say it as a rule of thumb: if white men like anything I'm doing, I'm doing it wrong. That is it. And,
because you're not doing it for them. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you're not feeling a way, then
and they were congratulating. Like, this is what I'm always saying. Exactly. We shouldn't focus on color. We should just, a good film is a good film. And you like, see, look at the danger that you're now inciting.
Because it gives them permission to now be like, we shouldn't talk about diversity.
Yeah.
We need to keep quiet about it.
Yeah.
And it gives them permission to stay dominant as well.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like people are uncomfortable with Black Panther. People are uncomfortable with Wrinkle in Time.
Yes.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
They're not used,
of course.
because we're always asked to relate to people who don't look like us.
Yes.
Ava and Ryan went to the cinema and said, we're asking you to relate to us. And it was an uncomfortable experience.
Well, there you go.
And like, I think, what's his name? I don't even know his name. The guy who wrote, is that his name? Ramesh.
Yeah.
You know, I did. You know, until I said I was going to read this article until you sent it to me this morning. I said I won't give someone the time of day, so I didn't even acknowledge his name. But like, as I said, Ava and Ryan asked people, you know, a predominantly white audience, to relate to Black people. Have a moment in our shoes, just for 1 minute. And as you said, Ramesh felt like, you know, white people felt comfortable with that, so I'm going to stand for them and say, you know what, that was the wrong thing to do. Let's not talk about it.
Let's not talk about it, because it's going to draw more attention to you. So when it fails, you're going to be judged really harshly. It's that, like, because we've heard it so many times, especially as a Black woman. I've heard it so many times growing up, like, oh, you don't want to do that. You don't want to overachieve, because the one time you do something badly, they're going to really be on you. So then there's this inherent sense of fearing success just because, you know, because of the, you know, possibility of failure. And that's what he's trying to lord over our heads. Like, go and focus on Bollywood, fam. Mind your business.
Real talk. Because the maddest thing is, we'll stop talking about it when it becomes the norm.
Yes.
Until then, we'll talk about it. Because even remember when Luke Cage came out and everyone was like, oh, like, it's so black. I'm like, it's in Harlem. What the fuck did you expect?
But you know what?
They were like, there's no white people. Genuinely, they felt uncomfortable. Like, they wanted people to take it down from Netflix. It's in Harlem.
But the question I have for Ramesh, what was that film? Was it Wonder Woman that came out?
Yes.
Where was your article when all the feminists came out and said we finally have a
to
female super?
with,
Where was your article then? Where was your article on telling feminists like, why don't you stop making a big deal out of having a female superhero? It's so normal. That's the question I have to you. Where was your article for that film? If your article is there, cool. But it is not.
It's not. And the thing is, diversity needs to be flagged, especially when it's being done well, because it brings people to the cinema. That is why Black Panther has grossed so well. You know, it's done so well.
That's why I'm seeing it 4th time tonight.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
I've seen it 3 times as well. Boom.
It's something to be proud of. Yeah, you can say, oh, the fight scenes were this and this was that. But any film should hold up to critique. It's really that simple. There are things that I would change, definitely. When Luke Cage came out, I'm sorry, I didn't like Luke Cage simply because I just felt like none of his love interests were darker than a brown paper bag. That was my main issue with it. Actually, when he's in jail at one point, they're watching TV and he said something like, oh, what do you mean you don't like Black women? What about the Beyonces? What about Nicki Minaj? And he names people that are all light. And I'm just like, why is no one clocking that this is a problem? So that, but I should be allowed to have a wholesome critique of any film, regardless of who the people are in it. So definitely forget diversity in that sense. But no, in fact, diversity is included in that sense because all films should, regardless of whoever's in it, should hold up to critique as far as I'm concerned. But that's not what he was saying, and that's a problem. People went to go and see Black Panther because they were like, finally, we get a Black superhero, even though we've said that we know that there are other Black superheroes. But this is one of the first that some of them are and have been exposed to. And they were so excited that they went to go and see it at least 2 times. What other films are people doing that for? So if I didn't know that there were Black people in it, I would not have wasted my time to go and see it that many times.
Do you think our mums would have come out? You know what I mean? You can't get my mum to go out unless it's a rave, blood. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Because even if it's to do the shopping, she'll send me, blood. You know them ones there. When mums are getting out to the cinema in their traditional clothes, they ain't worn for time. When they're digging it out, it's bigger than just a film, innit?
It's a cultural landmark. Like, even when I saw it the first 2 times, I went in my traditional Nigerian wear that I got married in. Because I knew that it was like, we knew we could be ourselves unapologetically, you know, in, you know, his abada, and, you know,
and people need to celebrate that.
And you know what I mean? We knew we could be ourselves. And I just don't understand why that's so problematic. But I do, because people are not used to seeing it, and it makes them feel uncomfortable. But just because you're not used to seeing something doesn't mean it shouldn't happen.
People are very averse to Black joy. They very much commodify and they profit off Black pain. That's why so many videos of black men being shot.
Yeah.
You can see them or lynched or whatever. You can find so many of them online.
Bag of slave films they're always making.
They love making those kind of films.
Making them.
Just to remind you of black pain, that's profitable. But when you talk about black joy, it scares them because in joy there is power. And so a collective power, collective happiness, a collective high self-esteem is dangerous for them because it's like, no, we want you to just remain here within the echelons of society. And no, we don't want to be there. That's a myth.
We shouldn't be there.
No.
Boy, it ain't gonna last too long. You know what I'm saying?
So
But it's a new time.
Yep.
It's a very new time where I'm gonna enjoy that.